Okay, good morning, everybody. We're here in my yard in Walpole again, and I thought I'd walk around a little bit and show you some opportunities to do some pruning. We'll kind of look at all of the different items, not necessarily in order that we talked about the other day, and I'll just show you some different things. I haven't done much pruning this season in my yard. I've been building gardens. I built some gardens over there. Put in some shrubs, planted my zinnias over here. So I've been doing that kind of stuff. So I haven't gotten to the pruning yet. And part of that is about timing. So we could start right here with the lilacs. You can see that the lilacs have just gone by. So now that the lilacs have flowered, I will prune them. Things that flower in the earlier spring, you want to prune them after they flower. Things that bloom later in the summer, you want to plant them before they flower, so you get a chance to get them in shape. So you can see at this big maple tree at the edge of my property boundary, and you can see my neighbor's car down there. This is an example of some branches with weak crotches. You can see them under there, weak crotches. That could be potentially dangerous. It's hanging over this walk path. There's another one that goes out over their driveway. So that really needs to come down. So we do kind of a flush cut up against the branch collar, drop that piece down, and make the tree a lot safer and a lot healthier. Lots of crossed branches in here. This is something I really need to deal with, are all of these variety of plants. And this is kind of like a wild hedge on the edge of my property, but you can see it's really quite a mess. Lots of stuff. You can, if you look in here, you can use your leaf identification to see how many different varieties are actually growing in here. There's some forsythia, in with some lilac, in with some Virginia creeper, in with some rugosa rose. Down here there's a burning bush. So this really needs to all be gone through and really pruned up hard. Over here, these little boxwoods. I'll show you these little boxwoods that I just put in last week. When I gave you the video on how to plant a tree and shrub, I planted this guy, but I put these 3 little boxwoods in here. These little boxwoods are a great opportunity if I wanted to decide to shape them into some kind of topiary form. I could prune them so they would actually take on a shape. That's not my plan. I'm probably going to hand prune them down a little bit and make for a little bit more of a dense shape, and round it off a little bit. But I'm probably not going to do it too tight, because that is what happens, like when we were talking about when you come through with hedge pruners, and you prune something too tightly and then the light penetration doesn't get down inside. But I might take some of these off along the top. I'll probably go right at at a node where either one leaf or one stem comes on and just kind of gently shape it, but not with a hand pruner for sure. Not with with the hand pruner. With a hand pruner, not with a hedge clipper, because that will make that too dense shaped shrub, and I can show you one around the other side of my house. Okay, here's an example in this big old maple. There are 2 maple trees out in front of my house. I heard a story that they're called wedding maples. It used to be when people got married, they'd put 2 maples out in front. But you can see here is a branch that really needs to come out. Really bad crotch. And look at how it goes straight up into the tree on all that crossing branch system up there. So that would be an example of a crossing branch that should really come out. If I come over here to these rhododendrons, these really need to be pruned back for size, but I'm waiting until they're done flowering. So the rhododendron has these beautiful pink flowers, and it's going to set its blossoms right after it flowers. So you really want to time pruning these just right. So I'm going to let this finish flowering, and then I'm going to take this one. This one's going to get pruned for size, and it's going to get pruned down quite a bit because you can see how it's growing up in front of my windows. So this one is going to be pruned for height and width. It's just a little bit too big. And it also has a little bit of a bug infestation over here. So I would prune this back even more because you can see where the bugs were at it. So that would be like pruning out the unhealthy or the broken parts. So we take that out. You might recognize some of these plants back here from school. This is where the big ivy spends the summer. A couple of big ferns. Now here's an example of a shrub that's been pruned with hedge pruners off and on. And you can see how it has a much more kind of flat, dense growth habit. I've been trying to hand prune this as much as possible. I did take it back with the hedge pruners earlier this year, and I'm going to have to come back at it again because it's grown quite a bit. You can see all that nice, soft, light green growth. But this time I'm going to try to do it with the hand pruners. That way it'll still get some light penetration into the internal parts of the shrub, because what can happen with a big old taxus like this over time, if it's constantly pruned with the hedge pruners, and this has improved since I started taking care of it myself. You can see all that real woody stuff underneath, where if no light gets in there, there's no green growth at all. It's kind of, they call it a dead zone after like the top 6 to 12 inches if it's not pruned properly. Lots more crossed branches in here, things that need to come out. So just a few examples of things that you would be looking for. Notice I didn't say I was going to prune anything yet to make it more beautiful. I'll definitely do it with these rhododendrons after I take care of the sick parts of the plant, after I get it the size that I want it to. Then I'll come around again, step back, and prune it for aesthetic purposes. All right, well, that's just a little example of some of the things you can do with pruning. I could go over to my neighbor's yard. That's some good pruning class stuff over there. He actually has this gorgeous Japanese maple, if you can see it across the street. And in the evening, when I sit out on my porch, that's facing pretty much due west, and the sun goes down, comes right through that tree. The light is absolutely spectacular. Okay, guys, last video. Have a great day.